let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? We are getting you absolutely, totally prepped to conquer your Class 10 Periodic Test 1 today. And look, I totally get it. Glancing at that math syllabus right now probably feels a bit like staring up at a massive, unscalable mountain. But trust me, by the time we're done here, we're going to break that mountain down into totally manageable stepping stones.
Seriously, if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed by all these chapters, take a deep breath. We are going to take all those abstract, super complicated formulas and essentially turn them into the ultimate cheat sheet. We're extracting just the absolute essentials from the source material today. The goal? Having you walk right into that exam room with absolute, unshakable confidence.
So here is the game plan for today. We're going to conquer 4 main areas: linear equations in 2 variables, then mastering quadratic equations, moving on to arithmetic progressions, and finally, we'll wrap up with real-world math applications.
All right, part 1, linear equations in 2 variables. Let's look at how balancing these sets up the foundation for literally everything else you're going to do in algebra.
Okay, so the absolute most crucial starting point here is the standard form. Whenever you see equations formatted like this, with your x, your y, and that constant c all set equal to 0, you're actually looking at a straight line on a Cartesian plane. It's basically the DNA of a straight line, just neatly written out in numbers and letters instead of drawn on paper.
Now this is where it gets kind of cool. There are really only 3 possible outcomes when you throw 2 of these straight lines onto a graph together. You're basically just playing detective, looking for where they meet. Outcome 1, they cross exactly once, bam, you've got a unique, independent solution. Outcome 2, they run perfectly parallel, just side by side forever, which means absolutely no solution. Or outcome 3, they literally overlap completely. They're the exact same line. And that gives you infinite solutions.
And guys, this table right here, this is your ultimate cheat code for the exam. You literally don't even need to waste time drawing out the graphs to know how these lines are going to behave. If you just compare the ratios of the coefficients, so your A1 over A2, B1 over B2, and C1 over C2, you can instantly predict if those lines will intersect, run parallel, or coincide. Trust me, knowing this is going to save you massive amounts of time when the clock is ticking.
Always keep in mind, there are exactly 3 ways, just 3, that these lines can interact in the universe. Memorize those 3 ratio conditions, and you will never, ever have to guess what type of answer you're looking for. You stay completely in control of the problem, not the other way around.
Moving on to part 2, mastering quadratic equations. We've balanced straight lines, right? But what happens when we throw a curveball, literally? Let's add a curve.
So, this simple little expression is the backbone for this whole chapter. The absolute second you spot that squared x term, you immediately know you're not dealing with a straight line anymore. You're looking at a parabola. Getting the standard form down lays the groundwork for hunting down those elusive roots, which, by the way, are really just the exact spots where your curve crashes through the x-axis. And this, right here, is the magic key. It brilliantly illustrates the universal foolproof method to finding the roots of any quadratic equation out there. Even when factoring looks completely impossible, this formula, which you actually derive just by completing the square, will always work. You just have to carefully plug in your a, b, and c values and literally just let the math do all the heavy lifting for you. Oh, and that little plus or minus sign? That's your built-in reminder that you are usually going to find 2 distinct answers.
But wait, it gets better. There is actually a brilliant shortcut hiding right inside that formula. If you just calculate the discriminant, that super crucial part tucked right under the square root symbol, the b squared minus 4ac part, you can instantly figure out the exact nature of your roots before you even bother solving the whole equation. If it calculates to greater than 0, boom, 2 real roots. Exactly 0, you've got 1 repeating root. And if it's less than 0, no real roots even exist. Honestly, it is basically like having mathematical X-ray vision.
All right, let's hit part 3, arithmetic progressions, or AP. We are totally switching gears here to look at how we decode numerical sequences and spot hidden patterns. Think about it like this. If you've ever saved money month over month by dropping a fixed amount into a piggy bank, congratulations! You already know how an AP works. These 3 key notations are literally the only tools you need to crack any numerical sequence. You just find your starting point, which we call A, and figure out the constant jump between the numbers. That's your common difference, D. Once you have those, you can find the millionth term in that sequence without breaking a sweat.
So when you inevitably hit a really tricky progression word problem on the periodic test, do not panic. Just take a breath and systematically follow these 3 exact steps, and you'll find the sum of any arithmetic series super efficiently. Step 1, isolate that starting number and your gap. Step 2, pick your formula, and you decide that based on whether you happen to know the final term or if you just know the total number of terms. And Step 3, just substitute your numbers and calculate the answer.
Let me just show you how ridiculously powerful this is in practice. Say your test throws a sequence at you, 3, 7, 11, all the way up to 79, and asks for the total sum. Actually, adding all those up manually would take you forever, right? But by figuring out that we have 20 terms here and applying our handy sum formula using just the first and last terms, basically multiplying 10 by 82, we instantly get a perfectly calculated sum of 820. Boom! It takes seconds, not minutes.
Finally, Part 4, Real-World Math Applications. Let's step out of the textbook for just a second to look at how this entire matrix of math actually surrounds us in real life. Because let's be real, knowing why you're learning something makes remembering the formulas a whole lot easier.
You see, these aren't just annoying exam questions designed to torture you. They're actually the hidden gears running the real world. Whether you're a civil engineer using quadratics to predict a train's travel time against varying speeds, a financial advisor planning a long-term budget using AP, or an entrepreneur figuring out business ratios with linear equations, these exact formulas are how professionals solve massive, complex, real-world puzzles every single day.
So arm yourselves with these structured cheat sheets. You now have the standard forms, you've got the ratio tricks, those amazing discriminant shortcuts, and the fail-proof progression steps. I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Which of these mathematical tools is going to be your ultimate secret weapon to completely dominate that upcoming Class 10 Periodic Test 1? Get out there and absolutely crush that exam.